Hi, I'm Paul from Velo, and it's that long-awaited time, the Moulton rebuild. Come and join me to rebuild this fantastic bike. Thanks for all of you that have kept on with the story. If you're new to it, we're rebuilding a vintage Moulton with some nice new components. Come join me. So we're going to start putting finishing kit on. We've already started putting the seat post on to clamp it into the stand, handlebars and stem, levers and all that jazz. Then we're going to go on to put the wheels on, look at the drivetrain, set all that up, and then probably finish with the brakes. Then afterwards, Sarah's going to have a lovely test ride of her new bike, as long as everything goes to plan. So this is just a loose fit. I find it just easier to put everything on. When it comes to handlebars, try and put everything on the workbench, and then it's all in place, just roughly. They'll all need to be adjusted in the work stand, and then also for Sarah when she's riding the bike. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world that keeps the sky in your mind. So, I was too over ambitious. After lots and lots of hours of testing, trying different things, the Q's rear derailleur just hangs just a little bit too low. It hangs probably around 10 to 15 mil too low, which is causing lots of clearance issues. I tried to overcome them by offsetting the wheel dish, which means that the rim's central over the hub, but making it go a little bit to the left for clearance issues. Went through loads and loads and loads of different situations, but it just wouldn't go. Now, when I work in the workshop, and I always stress this to mechanics that have ever worked for me, is you only have the tools that you need. You have the tools that you need, some key tools that you use, say, through a service, like spanners, but you always put stuff away because it just means the surface is cleaner and it's easier to work. But then there are times when you have an epic, and when you have an epic, it can just, everything can come out. And this was like an epic because I was just like, I want to make this work. I want to sort it out. How are we going to get past this and move things forward? And so I thought I'd better take a picture of the workbench while this was happening. So this can be seen just here. Carnage. So the main issue really comes from the 120 mil rear spacing, that if it is kind of means everything's just that little bit closer together. We're trying to jam everything in a smaller space. If it was kind of 135 mil or 130, there would just be a little bit more room. But anyway, come and have a look at how we've got over the problem. So a way to get over it is I've put a short cage Shimano 105 R7000 rear derailleur. Still using the Q's chainset because they can still be used together. We've gone for an Ultegra 11 to 28. So it will mean the gears are a little bit more harder, which I don't think will be an issue because of the size of the wheels. It super makes the rear of the bike lightweight because obviously the old cassette was huge and it's entry level in the Q's setup, so it was heavier, whereas this is a much nicer cassette. So now when we're lifting the bike, it feels really, well, when I say really light, not really light compared to other bikes, but it feels lighter. And one thing I've said in the other videos that we wanted to do is distribute the weight, whereas before it was all at the rear end with the rear hub. So that addition is really nice. So I think it's going to be better. The shifting is going to be really nice. So the only thing that we've had to order, because we had this lying around, is we've had to order 11-speed flat bar shifters, which are really nice. So in some regards, the bike has got an upgrade. Even though it hasn't worked, I do really enjoy the process. It's loads of learning for me. We didn't video the carnage because I needed to send Sarah off and just get into the zone and figure out the problems. And this is why I love working on vintage bikes and having problems like this to overcome, because it gets me thinking. I like working on modern bikes. You just don't have the same issues that you have to come across when you're fusing old and new components. And the only person to blame for the issues is me, because I'm the one who's ambitious with the project. But hoping this is going to work really nicely. Another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to test that the brakes were going to work nicely. I haven't fitted these brakes before, so I also had to look up the manual just to make sure that everything was on point. So the rear one's in and it looks really nice. Things are looking really good. The bike itself is looking really good, which we'll show you at the end of the video. Now, what we want to do today is we want to connect the gears and make sure they're all indexed and working. We want to fit the front brake, and then it's pretty much ready for Sarah to test ride. It's had all the bolts done up on the stem and everything's ready to go. Everything's been torqued up. So we just need to do those bits. We're going to then have a look at the bike and then we'll end the video there. Then there's going to be a follow-up video, because you might notice that there's this black tape everywhere. So this is kind of interim frame protection, and we've got to go back to Argos to collect a frame next week, which they've used some really nice stuff to protect the bike. So we're going to do a follow-up video where we do the frame protection in the key bits. Also, I need to figure out what I'm doing with this seat clamp. The seat stays in the position, but it does turn a bit. So I ideally want a bolted clamp, but I need to look at that. So in the follow-up video, we'll have that done and Sarah will go for a test ride, a longer test ride. So enough waffle, let's crack on.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
So here we are, I'm Sarah if you haven't met me before, and this is my bike. Lovingly put together by Argos and Paul. I did build one wheel, which you may have seen the video, and I'm going to do my first ever ride on it. I'm so excited. And then I'll tell you what I think. Here I go. Wow, it's amazing. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm actually riding it. Do you remember what it looked like at the beginning? You couldn't even cycle it. The colour just feels like suspension on the front. It just feels amazing. So I'm going to do some more riding. Paul's going to talk to you a bit more about the bike and the process we went through, and then we'll take it on a bigger ride and we'll do a little video about that. But yeah, first impressions, I love it.
Right, so Sarah's super happy. I've given it a test ride and it is a dream. And I really do mean that. I knew it was going to be nice, but I didn't know it was going to be that nice. Also, this back in the day was just a basic model. It was just an entry level made by Pashley. It wasn't like a super elegant Moulton, but it is sweet. And I think we've done really proud by it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick overview of all the stuff that we've done. If you've watched the other videos, you'll know. And then I'm going to talk about price, because I do think it's important to talk about how much this has cost. Right, here we go. So We've got a 1990s Moulton APB. We've sent it to Argos. We've had it all resprayed. We've used an older head badge, so it's got a nice patina on it. We have got new decals. Sarah chose a lovely blue colour. We got a new headset. We thought that it was going to be a clever idea to use a Q's group set, but that did not go well. But there was a bit of learning for me. So what we did is we used a Q's chainset. We've got a nice Ultegra rear derailleur and a 105 short cage derailleur. We've got hand-built wheels, hand-built by me and Sarah. We've got the Bonkers tyres. We've got the Avid Shorty Ultimate cantilever brakes, which look sweet. We've got the nice couplers from J-Tech. We've got some nice Ergotech handlebars, stem and seat post. We've had all new suspension, new cables, new chain. Boom, it's like a new bike. We still have a few things to address. We've still got to do some frame protection and we need to sort out the clamp, and then we'll just have to do a light tune up to make sure everything's tight after we give it more of a thorough test ride, which is good practice. We also need to change the pedals. These are just our test pedals that we have in the workshop. We will get some probably black pedals that can actually be taken off, so it goes with the whole theme of the bike. It's a separable bike, so we can take the bike apart, and it is lovely. Thanks a lot to Argos, and thanks a lot to all of you that have watched us do this. There will be a follow-up video. Now let's talk about price. Now, we got this from a gentleman and we paid £100 for it in its original form, which can be seen here. We've spent, I reckon we've spent, the frame repairs were around about the £800 to £900 mark. Bear in mind that was all being resprayed and it was all new suspension components, which was about £300 in itself. And we asked Argos to do everything and give it back to us, which is really sensible because they've got a workshop that's really set up for this type of work. And they've been doing it for almost 50 years. Now, I think total, we're into it for £1,500. Now, everything has been purchased at trade costs. So really, I think if someone was to have this done, you'd be looking around the £2,000 mark. And some of you might be like, what are you doing, man? You're a nutter. Why are you spending that much money? But you've got to think about it in a different way. £2,000 these days is a lot of money. I know that's a lot of money. We're not messing about. I know that for people day to day, life can be difficult. We're not trying to be exuberant with our money, but we do believe in taking items like this and giving them a new lease of life. And this bike is now ready for another 40 years of service. So if you take, it's £2,000 for you to have a bike like this as new. Why would you spend that money? Well, it's worth it because you're getting something custom. This has got custom paint. We've chosen the paint color ourselves. It's got hand-built wheels. It's got really high-end components on it. It's been customized, and there isn't another one like it. There isn't another one this color with this setup, and it's completely unique. The modern version of this bike is the Moulton XTB. The frame material is probably a little bit more elegant, but it's very much as this bike is in terms of its form. It does have a rear disc brake. I personally prefer having the two cantilevers because it just looks more uniform rather than having a cantilever and a disc brake at the back. That bike will cost you today £4,000, double the price of this. Componentry, you know, it's maybe similar, but it uses SRAM rival components, or I think this is just generally a nicer bike, and the process that we've gone through. So, you know, for £2,000 brand new bikes, you don't get a lot. To have something so unique, I personally think it's a bargain. And obviously we've been able to get it a bit cheaper because we've done the labor and everything ourselves. So yeah, maybe shocking, but there is a rationale behind it. And with all of the restorations that we do, the bikes go back new. So actually it's a really good way, a sustainable way of taking a product and reusing it and having it for, you know, however long. I mean, this bike we will never get rid of. I don't, you know, it will, that's it. It will just, and Sarah's shaking her head, you know, it's with us now for another 40 or 50 years and it will have so much enjoyment. So that is a bargain. So again, I'd like to thank you all for following the process. There is going to be a follow-up video, and I'm going to see if the gentleman that sold it to us, we are going to go and see him and show him it, see if he would like to be videoed. He may not, but I'll ask him. But we are going to go for a ride and do the few little bits because there's no point leaving those little bits not done. So yeah, Look forward to the follow-up video. Thanks for watching and please subscribe. It's emotional, babe. I can't believe it.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.